Slide on in. You are now tuned in to the Black Death.
Black Death, where the streets talk and the reels roll. This ain't just a podcast, baby, it's a revolution with rhythm.
Welcome to the Black Death 101 podcast, where the streets talk and the reels roll. We dissect our favorite blaxploitation films that saved Hollywood and still influence it today. I am your host, Nubius Black, and giving him 5 on the right-hand side, my brother from another mother, Johnny Depp. What's up, my man?
Hey, Nubius, what's shaking, cool cats and fellow viewers of the Midnight Reels? Slide on in. He's back in that busted vinyl chair. We're going to whisper some truth in your ears tonight. We ain't just pulling a film off the shelf. Oh, no, baby. We're cracking into a cinematic Molotov cocktail, a counterculture time bomb, a satire with its switchblade out and its boots on the conference table, because we're talking about Robert Downey Sr.'s 1969 guerrilla masterpiece, Putney Swope, the movie that didn't just poke fun at Madison Avenue, it mugged it in broad daylight and left a ransom note pinned to its tie clip.
And before we get to that, the funniest film I've never seen. Johnny turned me onto this film maybe a week ago, and I must have seen it 5 times, and it just keeps getting funnier and funnier. And I keep asking him questions that, I'm just ignorant to the fact of this movie. And it is just so funny in that Robert Downey Sr., directed it. It's in black and white. The commercials are in color. Again, like we do for every show, these movies, they use racially charged language. But this movie, believe it or not so much. Not a lot. But it's funky, and we're opening up the funky floodgates. You have to see this movie. If you are a blaxploitation film, this is got to be on your list. Wasn't on mine because I knew nothing about it. But before we get kicking, we need you to like, subscribe, and share. And check us out on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, and YouTube. You have got to see this movie. I think I'm an addict to this movie. I think I'm gonna have to watch this movie once a week just to get my fix, because it is just too funny. And I'm gonna have questions. You may have questions about this film, but I'm gonna have questions. And I may ask those questions to Johnny. He may have the answers to them. So, Johnny, tell him the dirty lowdown about this film.
Well, to understand Putney Swope, you gotta understand America in 1969. This was not a gentle time. This was a country caught between two mirrors, looking at itself, trying to figure out which one was a lie. We had Vietnam tearing the soul out of the nation. Civil rights were erupting. Black power was rising like thunder. Nixon had just slithered into office. RFK and Malcolm had been murdered the year before, but their ghosts were in the air. And meanwhile, corporate America, Madison Avenue in particular, was selling fantasies, dreams, perfect white teeth, women in apron, men in ties, kids who listened. This was a whole manufactured America that didn't match the reality in the streets. Putney Swope is born in that pressure cooker. It's not a movie made in calm, it's made in conflict. All right, now, dig this. A helicopter shot hits you right in the brain. It's wide, it's distorted, it's all of Manhattan Island. You're looking down at it, and as the angle shifts, you see an old, like, retiree kind of guy, and he's wearing a Hells Angels type biker vest. He's got on one of those little biker hats like he's Marlon Brando in The Wild One. He's got dark shades on.
Rebel flags on his jacket.
We open on this towering ad agency. He lands, it's quiet. He goes walking out. There's another old guy, got to be 6.5 feet tall, kind of stooped over. They slap each other 5. The funk kicks in, and they walk into a boardroom stuffed with white executives They look like they were assembled from the same mayonnaise-based template. These cats ain't visionaries. They're termites in suits. Every idea is dead on arrival. These guys look somewhere in between dead or freaking manic, crazed. They've been selling the same lies for 20 years and they wonder why the world ain't buying it. The chairman walks in, he tells them, we're making under $1 million a day here. You got to understand, everybody's got a box in their heads, a soap box, a bread box, and we can't overstuff this box with too much information in our advertisements, or they're not going to remember anything. We've got to send he strokes out right there. He's stumbling over his words. One of the oldest guys on the board starts screaming, how many syllables, Mario? He fucking drops dead right on the boardroom table.
Yeah, because everybody else at the boardroom thinks he's doing charades because of his stuttering, not knowing that he's having a stroke. And they're like saying 2 syllables, 2 syllables. Once he dies and he's laid there at the table, I don't know if you picked this up, but people go to check on him, and while they're checking on him, they're stealing his watch, they're going through his wallet, they're rifling through his pockets. This man hasn't been dead for 2 minutes yet. And that poor old white man in the back is still thinking he's alive, saying, how many syllables, Mario? And he says that shit for 5 minutes, and it's 5 minutes of the funniest shit I've ever seen in my life. We need to make a T-shirt that says, how many syllables, Mario? And it's the greatest thing ever.
They check his pulse. They take his watch. It's like moving him over to the other side of the conference table. Nubius is right there. They're rolling this poor bastard. He hasn't been dead 2 minutes. They're rolling him. His son is there
His
on the
son's
board.
sitting there.
Yeah, no one seems upset because it's time to elect a new chairman. The only way you get a new chairman is by democratic process. Everyone whips out the pen and pencil and the little notepad. As the keeper of the minutes, I guess the secretary tells them, he says, but remember, the rules state you can't vote for yourself. Almost everybody sitting there crumbles up the note they were writing. The hat gets passed around, and because they all despise each other, you got a vote for Nathan, for Bissinger. You get a vote for Swope. You get a vote for Elias, the son of the chairman of the board, and another vote for Swope, and another vote for Swope. 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 And because they can't vote for themselves, every vote lands in the same place. Putney Swope, the only black executive in the entire building. They vote for him because they think nobody else will. Now, Putney never asked. He never campaigned. He never even smiled at these fools. He was against the war toys. He doesn't like cigarettes, but he wins. And Hepcats, when Putney steps to the head of that table, everything changes. He looks the camera. He looks us dead in the eye, surrounded by these white guys, and he says, I ain't gonna rock the boat. Rocking the boat's a drag. I'm gonna sink the boat. And suddenly, with a smash coat, he's not in a suit and tie anymore. He's wearing a dashiki. And every single executive, except one, has been replaced with a brother, I think, off the streets.
Yeah, because a lot of them didn't even know what was going on. It was just so funny that we really, when we finally hear Putney speak, and it took me like the second time watching this going, is this motherfucker's voice dubbed? Then when I spoke to you about it and you told me, yeah, that's Robert Downey Sr. dubbing his voice, I loved it even more because I'm like, this is so absurd. It's so ridiculous where Robert Downey Sr. says that the actor Arnold Johnson didn't sound black enough.
Well, it wasn't
like,
so much that. It was he could not remember his lines. And Arnold Johnson got another job immediately after this movie became a hit. He became the shoeshine guy in Shaft.
right.
And the director of Shaft calls Bob Downey and starts yelling at him. This guy can't remember his lines.
But he was in like Minister Society. He was in a lot of films. He was in like the Five
Sanford
Heartbeat.
and Son?
Yep.
You remember when they opened the Sanford Arms? He's like the
Yes.
first tenant.
Yep.
That was where I initially recognized him from.
And that weird film Hero Ain't Nothing But a Sandwich. That he
Yeah.
was in that. But yeah, he had a little bit of role in a push going on for a while. But this movie right here, I will forever connect him to Putney Swope because, again, like I said before we started rolling, my new favorite film, man. I can't. You're like a drug dealer. You pushed something on me. You pushed something on me and said, "Try it. You might like it. It ain't that bad. Try it. How bad could it be?" My God, I can't stop watching this movie. It is the funniest shit I've ever seen. Masterpiece. Robert Downey Sr., I know he passed away. This is a masterpiece. His son needs to make something like this now. Hell, he played the fucking black guy in Tropic Thunder. So, yeah, that was a little homage to this movie.
I'd say so. I'd say so. So Putney has now replaced everyone except for one white guy, the tall guy, Nathan. He renames the agency Truth and Soul Incorporated.
TNS.
TS, baby. Yeah. He refuses to make ads for cigarettes, alcohol, or war toys. You know, he's even told at one point, if you don't sell toy guns, you're going to repress a boy's natural destructive urges and he'll be a fag.
Well, you're the one that took him on the camping trip.
Yeah, I get the picnic. Oh, man. This film is insane. Definitely. I recommend some self lubrication. I first saw this movie on a double bill with Greaser's Palace. I had gone to see Greaser's Palace primarily. That was the main flick. This was at the Fox Venice Theater. By the time I left the theater, I didn't remember much of Greaser's Palace. This film had wormed its way into my brain. The film, as Nubius said, it's in black and white, but it's an ad agency and they make commercials. The commercials are in color. These are commercials that look like Fellini ate a dozen comic books and washed it down with a bottle of moonshine or maybe Victrola Cola. I mean, this movie, as I was telling Nubius the other day, I think it's Mad Magazine on acid.
Oh, yes. The color palette, like you said, not only Fellini you get vibes, you get a lot of Dario Argento vibes with these weird ass colors and camera angles. And I'm sitting there going, because you know, again, first time watching it, you see it is in black and white. And when the color, it slaps you right in the face. And I'm a drinker. I love me glass of wine. I love a nice scotch. And I'm like, you know what? I'm gonna eat an edible, and I'm not a fucking edible guy, and I don't know nothing about this shit. Needless to say, I was fucked up for days. I don't know if it was the edible or this film, but the combination of the two. If you had surgery and you're home, they give you some oxycodone or some shit like that. Don't take that. Take a nice edible. And I'm not a doctor. I only play one on TV. And watch this film and you'll feel fine. Because I was fucking bugging for the rest of the night, going into the next day, just giggling, thinking of this film, cursing Johnny Depp, going, why did he make me watch this? I'm never going to get anything done.
Man, this film, it's just, I had watched it again with my wife this past Sunday, about a week ago. She just didn't know what to make of it. Her initial reaction was, this is retarded. But the next day, she rewatched it with me. Then she watched most of it again with me like a couple of days later. Because you're right. Once you take a hit off this film, man, you want more.
Oh, yeah.
Seeing as you shared your edible story, I will mention that back in the day, I was working in film. I was living in Venice Beach, California, and my buddy Dirk would come over and he hadn't seen this. So we dropped acid and watched it. This is just a great movie. And those ads, they're just glorious. They're chaotic, brilliantly insane ads. They're like the beating heart of the film. I know some people don't like this movie, but we always agree that the ads are hilarious. This is before Saturday Night Live,
Right.
before the Groove Tube. We got one with this gorgeous woman. She's dancing in a trash-strewn alley, and she says, "You can't eat an air conditioner." And then fans start blowing the smoke in this alley. This is the first thing they shot. The woman dancing, Bob Downey found her at a diner in Manhattan that he used to eat at. He asked, "You want to be in a movie?" She said, "Yeah, I want to be in a movie." The bum passed out on the garbage was an actual homeless guy. They gave him $10 and 3 bottles of wine. He drank down 2 bottles immediately and went right to sleep, right where they wanted him. Great job, I say. We got a young interracial couple in a commercial. They're singing. They got these beautiful young people voices because they were both actors in a play on Broadway at the time called Hair. They're singing in an ad for Face Off Pimple Cream, dancing around. That ad is also, it's fucking hilarious. I've heard the word beaver now in this film twice. I don't think I'd ever heard it in a movie before. We have a ad with sexy lingerie-clad stewardesses bouncing around for Lucky Airlines, and they're bouncing around
Oh, they're bouncing.
naked-ish. Bouncing is the key word. Lucky Airlines, where one lucky passenger, you hear them call out a seat number, and this white guy comes in and starts stripping off his clothes, and he's bouncing around with the girls. The tone of it changes. You get this weird sitar music going on, and then he's getting a massage. And I bet everyone wanted to fly Lucky Airlines.
I know I want to fly Lucky Airlines. I mean, shit, if you go to crash that plane, you're coming and going at the same time.
Oh, man, and then there's, like, the cornflakes commercial. There's, like, a brother sitting eating cornflakes at the table,
What was
like,
that shit
ethereal
called?
cereal.
Ethereal cereal.
Ethereal cereal.
And the guy goes, "No shit."
Yeah. It's like a mockery of
It is
racism,
so funny.
sexism, capitalism.
And Antonio Fargas, who plays the Arab, that was his name, who isn't Arab. The best line in the whole part in that whole movie is when he's speaking his fake ass Islamic accent. Putney goes, "And who do you think you are, Lawrence of Nigeria?" Thought I'd shit myself when he said that shit.
If you listen to, like, the gibberish, except he does get an Allah in there
Oh
once
yeah,
in a
he
while.
throws
He's like,
some words out there.
"Allah, ba-la-la-la, mixed media." Man, so under Putney's leadership, which, you know what? Maybe we should discuss how Putney comes up with his ideas, because Putney himself is kinda corrupt. We learned this early on when he tells Nath, "You're a good guy, I'm keeping you on." "Hey, Putney, all our regular customers pulled out." Someone runs up, "Wing Sony is in the lobby." And they're like, "Wing Sony? Wowee, let's go get this account." And they walk up to him together. And Wing Sony is this Chinese guy with a Chinese woman and a Chinese hippie-looking guy as his entourage. He's standing there in the lobby lighting firecrackers. And just tossing them. And they walk up to him, and
What did Putney say about him before he start talking? He said something like this. This is his own version of Pearl Harbor because he kept throwing firecrackers everywhere.
"No, Swope, he's Chinese." "I don't care, let's get that account." They walk up to him, and he looks up at Putney. "I have a new mousetrap. It catches the mouse and chemically cremates him." Swope says, "Great news. I've been thinking of an idea for mousetraps for the last 6 minutes." And he looks over at Nathan and says, "Lay it on him." You get this feeling like, whoa. Nathan tells the most ridiculous fucking story I've ever heard. Columbus is on the Santa Maria. He lands in the New World. At that moment, a 70-year-old squaw with a cleft head and an axe in the back comes running out of the bushes. Cut to a picture of a get out of here mousetrap. Tell him how much it costs and where to buy it. And Wing Sony looks at him and goes, "That's the most fantastic thing I've ever heard." Man, so Nathan, he's like, "Swope, we did it." And Putney's like, "You fired."
You're fired.
He fires Nathan. He walks out the door. Before he makes it down the hall, there's like 8 guys there. It was like, "We heard about the mousetrap ad. It's brilliant. We want you to do all our ads. And Swope's like, I need $1 million cash up front from all of you. They're all, that's hallway robbery, Swope. And they all start to walk away. The first time I heard a hallway robbery in that fucking theater in Venice, California, I almost fell out of my seat on my ass. Walk away, and Swope's like, and if you don't double your sales, you get a refund. And they all come back with, we are with you, Swope. Like, I'm with the Audie Murphy Toy Company. And he's like, we don't do that. And you have terrible breath. And the guy's like, tell me what you want me to make. I'll make it.
I'll make it. You sell it.
Truth and Soul
It is
becomes,
bizarre.
it's the most bizarre fucking film I think we're ever going to cover. I could be wrong. But as of right now, I can't say that this film is blaxploitation.
Really? You really can't. Only because it's a black lead and there's a lot of black people in it. This, if anything, is adsploitation. It's making fun of like the ads and the marketability of certain products. It still happens today if you watch some of the ads, and it's like, these ads are ridiculous. But if you watch Putney Swope, you're going to go, oh my God, this is how they did it. Because it's almost like beat for beat. And Putney's bodyguard, who can't handle a gun, he keeps losing his gun. The little black guy with the afro. Hilarious shit.
Truth and Soul becomes huge. It actually probably becomes too big because the president calls.
Oh boy.
President Mimeo. Now, the actor that portrays President Mimeo and the other actress that portrays President Mimeo's wife, you might have seen them before if you'd have ever seen Todd Browning's movie Freaks. President Mimeo is a little person.
There you go.
And so is his wife, with a light German accent. And he's in bed with a car company run by a Nazi, Mr. Six of the Borman Six. And he wants Swope to do his advertising magic, to give the Borman Six the Putney magic touch. Once he's off the phone with Swope, he tells Mr. Six, I think we're okay. And he's like, good, I will send you back to Bonham and Bailey, where we found you. Oh, man.
This show is, that's when it gets fucked up. When the Nazi guy is trying to give the weed to the two dwarfs, a husband and wife, president and first lady.
Yep.
And
I get some good shit, man.
And he says, it's getting chilly in here. Let's throw a few Jews on the fire. I was like, yo,
Yeah.
so fucked up.
This movie, it's offensive to everyone. And therefore, I say, if you're triggered by that stuff, too fucking bad. Go in and laugh your ass off.
Yeah, Robert Downey Sr. wrote it. Get mad at him.
I find it brilliant. I find it hilarious. You don't need an edible or acid or a drink to enjoy this movie, but it sure helps. So Putney, he ain't a saint. He's not a savior. He's a businessman. He suddenly starts to get drunk a little bit on the power. I think his ego kind of fills up. He looks in the mirror at this point and he says to himself, it's just you and me, Swope. You and me. And his lieutenants, they're starting to look more like cult members.
Right.
He suddenly switches now from the dashiki to like militant clothes. Very, very Castro.
Yeah, very all green with the pad and all that, and the swizzle stick in his mouth.
Yep. He meets with some members of the black community. One is like, change through violence. We need guns. And the other one's like, yeah, the old ways don't work anymore. The next guy's like, I'm not like these other guys. We believe in open dialogue. We're peaceful.
Lay some cash on him.
Lay some bread on them, baby.
Lay some bread on him.
Lay some bread on them, baby. They're like, man, you've got to fix the community so that it'll open up real jobs for everyone. And the one militant guy that wants a gun's like,
who the fuck wants a job?
Yeah, exactly. It's fucking hilarious, man. It's nuts. He goes out now in this Cubaware outfit. He gets on the balcony overlooking all his employees and he says, I'm going to make some changes here. I want everybody, even if you're not creative, to give me an idea. And a couple of people give him ideas and he kind of tells them those are shitty ideas. Then one person says, well, what about a pimple cream called Face Off. He looks over at one of his assistants and says, "Fire that guy." And someone else comes up with another idea, and the good ideas are when he looks over and says, "Get them out of here."
Get them out of here.
Yeah, one guy even looks up and goes, "I am not creative, but it's very nice to know that if I ever have an idea."
I can come to you.
The fucking character. Now you got Fargus stealing every scene he's in, improvising 60% of his dialogue, creating this Arab character out of the script and thin air. It's totally his, and Bob Downey in interviews would always say that Fargus was just one of the greatest actors he ever worked with. But there are these other freaking guys. There's like Rufus, or is it Myron X?
Myron X.
Then there's this one guy with this like beanie that has like a spring on it with something on the end of it. And that man, he's high. He's so high, he's stacked up over LaGuardia, and he
I
ain't
don't
never
even know what
coming
his
down.
job was because he was just there. He's sitting on the toilet talking about how he wants to have sex. When he gets hard, he's just going to stick it into anybody, male or female. It does what it wants to do.
I see his ass in those tight bell bottoms, and my
Yeah.
Johnson don't care.
This film is
And
so
mind you, this is a scene of a couple of guys,
sitting on the toilet.
yeah, sitting on the toilets. The cameras just kind of sliding from one stall to the next. There's never been a movie like this before.
No, ever again.
This is when we say guerrilla filmmaking, that applies to a lot of the films we cover and love. But this is not just independent guerrilla filmmaking. This is underground film. By the way, Alan Arbus has a little recurring role as the attorney in this film.
Yeah. That is him, isn't he? He's the villain from Coffee.
He's the head mafia guy from Coffee.
Yeah, he has the Jew fro. That's what they call it.
And his wife was Diane Orbis. She was a photographer, and he was also a photographer, but then he got into acting where he had a very good career. He was on, we've talked about him before. He was on MASH. Great actor.
Did you notice that there's a Mel Brooks cameo in this?
Actually, there's not. When the actors that they had, because a lot of these were just people they recruited to act in the movie, they all wrote their names down, the names they wanted used.
So Mr. Forget It wasn't Mel Brooks?
It was an actor who that day just wrote his name as Mel Brooks. And because of that, people have thought that Mel Brooks has a little cameo in this film.
I did.
Yeah, I did for years until, leading up to today, I watched an interview with Robert Downey Sr. and they asked him about it. And he was like, "Oh, man, I hope for the DVD release we can get that changed because that's just a distraction." But at any rate, this film might have just disappeared. Nobody wanted to distribute it. The last distributor they showed it to owned a bunch of theaters, including a couple that showed like the more counterculture stuff. He liked it. He told Downey, "I don't understand it, but I like it." And he came up with the middle finger movie poster. The movie poster is a bird, someone flipping you off, but instead of the middle finger, they put a chick there. It's a pretty cool poster, and it worked really well. And the film opens in two little theaters, probably would have been forgotten, except Jane Fonda is on Johnny Carson, which back in the early 70s, late 60s, was the biggest show on the air. It was a talk show. It was on late night. It was the Tonight Show. And she's there, ostensibly, to talk about her brother's movie, Easy Rider.
Another counterculture.
Yeah, more counterculture. And in the middle of her interview, she goes, "But if you want to see the funniest movie ever made, go see Putney Swope." The next day, the theater calls Downey. There's a line around the block.
Wow.
Then they're able to start booking it in other theaters. They eventually book it in Los Angeles, where it does great business. Paramount signs a deal with Downey to do this movie called Pound that takes place in, like a city dog pound, just one night. It's got characters like Puppy, who is played by Robert Downey Jr., whom we all know as Iron Man. soon maybe as Dr. Doom. He delivers the finished movie to Paramount, and they freak out because it's another one of these weird underground type films where the actors are just, even though they're just regular actors, like in their day clothes, they're portraying dogs in this pound. And Paramount thought they were buying an animated movie. So a fucking rebel to the end. After that, he goes on and he does Greaser's Palace, which was a moderate hit. We don't always talk about editors on these films. And with a lot of these movies, it's the editor that really makes it. In this case, the editor was a guy named Bud Smith. He'd done some work, he'd done a lot of commercials. So Downey makes a deal with him. He'll edit the film, but Downey has to come to LA and bring the film. He won't come to New York. And Downey's never been to LA. He flies out and they edit the film. This guy goes on to edit The Exorcist. He goes on to edit Sorcerer. He goes on to edit The Karate Kid. It's a long list. Flashdance. He started with Putney Swope. Robert Downey Sr. is really a pioneer of independent film before independent film really even knew it was a thing. He's a man whose whole filmmaking style felt like you took satire, an acid trip, a sociology class, and a fist fight, blended them up, and poured the result into a projector. He started out making his movies really for no money with actors who barely remembered their lines. He believed in the chaos, the controlled chaos, but authentic. He believed stupidity could be profound, and he believed comedy should make you sweat a little. He thought that satire should leave bruises, and with Putney Swope, he found the perfect structure to contain his madness, the world of advertising, which is essentially a world built on lies. As we said, he shot the film in black and white, and he did this to make the fake commercials pop, and they do. They're in this blasting, exaggerated color because, baby, the ads are like a real circus act in the center ring of this movie. He shot the film like he knew America was on his last nerve, and he plucked it like a guitar string. Let's take 1 second to break down the fire beneath the fire, because it's not just a comedy. It's a real takedown of America's psychological furniture. As I said, it's a mirror held up to advertising, race relations, power structures, and the whole idea of upward mobility. And the Black Power imagery is both satire and homage wrapped together. He uses the symbols, I think, not for the ideology, and that's his point. Even revolution can become decoration if you don't stay sharp. The commercials in vivid color, that's Downey telling us the ads are more real than the agency producing them.
Yeah, but if you look at it, like you said, the lies or truth, that's what I was thinking, that everything in the world, the real world is in black and white, but the commercials are in color. And they're just like, again, I'll say it again, like today, they are selling the lie. That is their job. Their job is not to tell you the truth. Their job is try to convince you into buying in, selling out, and buying the lie. And I think that's the whole bottom line of this film. But we can't do this podcast without talking about Marlene Clark. She was so fucking fine, man. She was another one of those fine chicks in these films that in my opinion, she doesn't get enough credit for. My first experience of seeing Marlene Clark was on Enter the Dragon. She had a small cameo as Roper's secretary while Roper was losing playing golf, John Saxton, if you remember that scene. That's Marlene Clark, who stars in this movie. She also played in the movie, and I can't believe I got a movie you never seen, Ganja and Hess. That's a movie we have to watch, because it's fucking, if you think this movie's bizarre, Ganja and Hess is just as bizarre, but not funny. It's just super bizarre. She's in Slaughter. She's in another movie, and I believe should be remade with Calvin Lockhart, called The Beast Must Die, where it's almost like
Oh,
a
yes.
Agatha Christie film, where you're on like this I wanna say an island, if not an island, but a spot of land that is blocked off with electric fences, and it's almost like a whodunit. Who is the werewolf in this group of people? And this great game hunter, played by Calvin Lockhart, which is some great fucking casting. It's got Peter Cushing in it. Again, Marlene Clarkson as his wife. They're trying to figure out who the werewolf is.
Great movie.
Horrible werewolf.
Had a werewolf break where
Right.
they stopped the movie for a minute and asked you if you could guess who the werewolf
Can
was
you
before they
guess
told you.
who the werewolf is? And this movie would have been 100 times better if they just put a person in a werewolf suit instead of using a German Shepherd. But I digress. I like this movie.
Yes.
That movie was really good. And because, again, it gave Black people another aspect of what they could be. Calvin Lockhart didn't play a pimp, he didn't play a pusher, he wasn't a heavy, he wasn't background noise. He wasn't a gang member or a drug dealer. He was a great game hunter who was a multi-fucking millionaire who lived in this palatial estate with the beautiful Marlene Clark. And one of these motherfuckers is a werewolf. And being the great hunter that he is, he needs to find out who it is so he can hunt it and kill it. Great story. We got to do that. I don't know. Does that consider blaxploitation? What do you think? It's kind of like this movie, right?
Yeah, definitely adjacent. I think we have to do it. It's one of those movies. I took the bus down to Hollywood Boulevard when I was a kid, and that was, about a mile of walking, 2 buses, probably 90 minutes, almost 2 hours to get up there to go see it. I believe that one was at the World Theater, way down at the ass end of Hollywood Boulevard. But I saw it with my friend Bruce. We saw it in theaters because we weren't going to miss that.
Of course
Shit,
not.
no.
Marlene Clark is
Hell
in it,
no.
and she was fine in that film too. She died in 2003, so she lived a long life. And she was very much, as they would say, like today, they're finally getting back to, Black people come in different shades, But there was a while where the only Black people we seen, they were like light and almost white. And Marlene Clark was a proud African American woman. She was dark skinned, but man, she commanded the screen whenever you seen her. And when she said to Putney, "I'm gonna make you young again," I believed it.
Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah.
pulling down the poster of Sidney Poitier in the background, which is funny.
Everything in this movie is funny. So, Putney, his downfall is the cycle repeating itself. They say power corrupts, and even well-intentioned power must corrupt because he started out, I think, with good intentions. I think Downey believed leadership is really just chaos with a tie. Arnold Johnson with Downey's voice, just brilliant. I can't believe it works, but it works. He talks like he's channeling cosmic truth while looking bored. Stan Gottlieb as a token white executive. Alan Garfield's only in there for a minute at the beginning as Elias Jr., but he's funny. Vargas steals the movie. And really just a parade of strange, wonderful side characters that feel like they wandered in from midnight vaudeville act. The president is a little person out of like a European art film.
How about Miss Redneck, New Jersey?
Oh my God, Miss Redneck, New Jersey. Because everyone wants a piece of the pie. And man, I didn't think she'd remember that line. He cast people that weren't actors and didn't really even care about acting, or they acted like they were, some of them, in a different movie, and it just adds to the surreal documentary, almost Doctor Strangelove energy.
Yeah, very much so. I mean, Miss Redneck, New Jersey made me want to go out and buy a dingleberry pie. What about you?
Dingleberries, pot pies. These guys, they don't look like anyone you'd ever trust with advertising, but they kick ass at it. And this movie, we always say this, but this one I think changed filmmaking. Maybe not the box office or the Oscars, but for filmmakers nowadays that matter, they took notes, inspired guerrilla directors, ad world satirists, punk artists, early hip hop video, Saturday Night Live writers, absolutely. That weird energy in 70s commercials when they started getting weirder, blame Putney.
Oh, yeah.
Those anti-corporate movies of the 90s, they owe it to Swope.
And Swope needs to fucking pay homage to George Lucas, who fixed this film and cleaned it up and restored it. Go figure that one out.
Yes, God bless the Lucas family for restoring that film. What is it now? 55? 56! 56 years later, Putney Swope is still too wild for most people. You folks out there listening to our show, some of you are not going to like this movie. Some of you might even find it boring. But the rest of you,
You get it.
yeah,
You'll get it. I realized something, and like I said, I only showed my wife 2 scenes that I figured she would get because she's in the insurance business and she's in the corporate world. And I showed her the scene where the white guy wanted to get a raise because the other executives make more money than him and he has more experience. And Swope says to him, if I give you a raise, then that means I have to give them guys a raise. And you will still be making less money than them. And we will be right back here where we started. And when I showed her that, she goes, that makes perfect fucking sense because that's how business is done. And I'm like, there you go. You can't lie on that. That shit is correct. Think about it.
it's totally correct. In fact, the thing that inspired Downey to make this movie at the time, he was working at a company, got a job working at FilmX. He got the job because he had made these little short experimental films. They saw them, they liked some of them. So they hire him, and they've got one other guy. What they do at FilmX is advertising agencies send them the scripts, send them the products, they make the commercials. They had 2 guys that worked, and on the weekends when the soundstage was free and the cameras were free, they would make their own experimental commercials. Nothing that would ever get shown. This was for in-house, and then in-house, they could show these wacky experimental commercials to the ad agencies and maybe get more business. So Downey does one for Preparation H. He gets a lot of attention. He's working with the other guy. The other guy that's doing this, the exact same job, is an African American gentleman. And he walks up to Downey and goes, hey, man, I looked. I saw your check the other day, your paycheck, and you're making more than me. And we do the same job. And Downey says, well, how much more am I making? And the guy says, you're making exactly twice what I'm making. Downey gets pissed off and says, we're going to the boss right now. And they march in and they tell him, look, he inadvertently looked at my check, realizes he's getting paid half what I get for the same job. And the boss gives them that story. Well, if I give him a raise, you're going to want a raise. That sticks with Downey. That's where Putney Swope was born. On a side note, the black guy ended up getting the raise because Downey stuck up for him.
That's cool as hell. And you know what? They probably heard it through the drum.
Exactly. I fucking love that, man. Oh, man.
Stop,
This film,
stop texting me and let me hear it through the drum.
you're fired. Hey, I heard you fired Nubius. How'd you hear that?
The drum. Don't even ask us what it means. Watch it and you figure it out.
But it makes perfect sense. At least to me, it does.
Oh, yeah, yeah.
That's the fucking beauty. This movie is confusing by design. It's America looking at America, and it still doesn't see what it sees. I tell you, watch this thing today. You'll see things that still sting, things that still ring true, jokes that corporations would kill to use, but they don't understand. You'll see a black protagonist who isn't sanitized. You'll see satire that knew the future was branded, packaged, processed, and sold by the pound. This is a film that refuses to get old for me because the system it's mocking refuses to change.
Yeah.
And I think, I tell you, brother, I think Downey saw 2025.
Yeah, he nailed it. He nailed it. This movie is a exploration or investigation, if you will, into the world as it is, not the world as it pretends to be. And I just think he does it with such style and unapologetically in your face. I mean, everything he does is in your face. That's the part that I really dig because you don't catch that much anymore. You see in movies now, we watch the movies, the actors act, and then we go home and dissect whatever we just seen or whatever, or we like it, we didn't like it. This movie is in your face without them staring at you in the camera and winking. It's just hard to explain. Watch the movie and tell us what you think because it's such an in your face type of deal. And it ends on such a weird cliff note. Like, does Putney agree? Is he upset? Who knows? You don't know. It's really made for you to come up with your own ending when this film is over. Because we had that conversation, like, and I like that it ain't just an ending where it was tied up in a sweet little bow that the advertising agency would have preferred. You know what I
Not
mean? You
cut
dig what
and
I'm saying?
dried. I totally dig it. It is. It's right in your face, but it don't blink. It mocks the world by understanding it too well. It's like a revolution that fails and succeeds at the same time. I think it's a masterpiece that still scares the people it's talking about. Putney Swope ain't just a movie, it's a diagnosis. In a world full of jive-ass turkeys, you better keep your slogan sharp and your soul sharper. Man,
I don't know what else to say, but that was the funniest movie I've never seen. I hope you guys come see this film and come back for our next show where we're not just going to kill you, we're going to slaughter you. We're going to do
that's
slaughter
right.
with the
Next
great.
up, Slaughter.
Yes, sir. So come back and see us. Check us out on Facebook. Go to YouTube, subscribe, share, like, do our thing on Apple Podcasts and Spotify. You do that, we'll keep pushing these things out. This is Nubius Black with Johnny Death, same black time.
Same black channel.
Peace.
Peace.
Madison Avenue's a circus scene. Every clown in a tie, chasing the green. Selling fear to the folks, hope to the blind. But Putney Swope has got a whole new state of mind. He said, listen up, no more lies. Straight talk, only open your eyes. He tore up the script with a knowing grin. Said we gonna sell truth and we'll still cash in. Watch the big shots sweat when the message flips. Turn the whole world cool with our brand new scripts. Truth and Soul Incorporated, where the job gets busted and the love gets celebrated. Truth and Soul Incorporated, we're cashing checks on the truth we elevated. Get on up. Truth and Soul, that's where it's at. Billboards bragging about what ain't real, selling lifestyles nobody feel. Putney said, why hustle what nobody needs? Let's hustle freedom, plant better seed. But power players never like that sound. When honesty starts circling round, they'll pay any price to silence the bold, but they can't buy cool and they can't silence soul. Who's running the show?
Putney Swope.
You know what's the name of the game? Telling truth like flame. Truth and Soul truth gets validated. Truth and soul incorporated. We're selling change and the world's captivated. Stand up tall. Truth and soul. No turning back. Yeah. See out here? They'll sell you anything. Fear, shame, a dream on layaway. But Putney said, let's flip the switch up. Stop selling the nightmare. Still waking up. Hey! Truth and soul. We broke the mold and the future's activated. Truth and soul incorporated. Join the groove. Revolution syndicated. Get on up. Truth and soul. That's where it's at. That's where it's at. That's where it's at.